The sports talk, where all opinions are heard, but not always accepted. For the fans who live and die by their teams. For the fans who stay up for those extra innings. The city where going to work isn't just another phrase. Where we live and die by the next swing of the bat. Diehard fans hate us and love us. But feelings have never been held back. You are listening to Detroit Sports Talk with Brett and JT. Welcome back to another episode of DST with Brett and JT. My name is JT Smelik, and tonight I will be flying solo for this half-hour podcast. Let me break it down for you guys. We're about Detroit sports. It's been a moment since we've been here, just in case any of you have forgotten. So first thing is first, it's always about Detroit. Whether it be MSU football, UOFM football, or any of the national teams we have. We're going to be diving right into something that I honestly didn't think I was going to have a lot to talk about, and it is the Michigan State Spartans as they get ready to face Indiana. Now, this is going to be a very interesting matchup in general, but honestly, with what has happened over the last 24 hours with star running back LJ Scott, we have a lot to break down today. So, coming off of a huge win against U of M, Michigan State Spartans have just been on a roll. Brian Lewerke is the stud we all need him to be. And honestly, a lot of people started to really look at this team as a true contender. But one problem has seemed to be in the face of the Michigan State Spartans all year long, and it is staying out of trouble with the law. They may be 5-1 right now, but with running back LJ Scott getting arrested yet again, his 7th time being arrested for driving without a license, I don't even understand how he could still be on this team. Now, he is a star. I will give him that. So, of course, that does give him some leeway on staying on this team. But regardless, D'Antonio has always tried to keep a very, very tight ship with any of his teammates or the players he coaches. But allowing running back LJ Scott to once again get arrested and then announce that he will be playing this Saturday against Indiana is an absolute slap in the face of the program. I cannot stand the fact that this is happening, especially with all the things that happened, all the controversy in the offseason about players D'Antonio had getting in trouble with the law. This is unacceptable for MSU to allow him to play, and honestly, it sets a very bad tone for the program that we're going to be running. But regardless of that, LJ, listen, man, you have to be smarter than that. You are a very talented running back at a very well-respected school. Your team just became ranked, and that's how you're going to follow it up? Really? That is not something you should be doing. You need to be smarter than that. You have the chance to go in the NFL and make millions. Why aren't you being any better than this? Regardless of how you feel about LJ Scott, you have to be excited for this Michigan State Spartans team who have become ranked. I didn't think in 5 years we were going to be ranked again. At least, well, maybe not 5, but I needed Lewerke to be a junior to maybe think about us being ranked. My problem right now is it's been all year long. It is the play calling by MSU. I think it is disgusting. Dave Warner, you have a lot to be working on, sir. D'Antonio, let me break down my main problem. I don't know if you guys saw the end of the Michigan game. A lot of people seem to glaze over it, but you did a quarterback run when you were trying to drain out the clock. Instead of just taking a knee, you gave up a risky play where your quarterback could have been hurt, which is an absolute no. Especially if you're D'Antonio and you are a smart coach or supposedly smart coach, you need to make better decisions than that for your team. I'm sorry, that is unacceptable to be having Lewerke run it on your third down play. And then even after that, you get a penalty. You get a penalty on that play. That is just unacceptable. That is not good football, and they got very lucky that Michigan was unable to capitalize on that, the U of M was unable to capitalize on that play and take advantage of it, because I truly thought Michigan was going to steal that game at the end from MSU. But regardless, you live to fight another day. But I still don't like D'Antonio. I still don't like Dave Warner. They need to do a better job down there in East Lansing. It's going to be a real battle. 3:30 tomorrow. It is going to be a Saturday kickoff for 3:30 in East Lansing, Michigan, Spartan Stadium. Indiana Hoosiers, Michigan State Spartans. Michigan State looking to go 6-1 and stay in first place in the Big Ten East. So it is, and Indiana looking to get their back-to-back wins against Michigan State. So it's definitely going to be an exciting game. It'll be interesting to see what happens coming off the heels of this L.J. Scott being arrested for the 7th time, see how he reacts. But we're going to take a little break right here. Coming back, we are going to get into some U of M football. And not just U of M football, but why I think Coach Coach Jim Harbaugh is one of the most overrated coaches in the country. Keep it right here with DST, Brett and JT. All right. We are back. DST with Brett and JT. My name's JT. We're flying solo tonight. And guys, let me break it down for you. All you Michigan fans out there, I'm going to tell you right now, you have one of the most overrated coaches in the country. Let me explain this to you. Make all the excuses you want for him. Like, I've heard, who was it? Colin Cowherd say that, the Big Ten is more competitive than it's ever been. Coaching is more competitive than it's ever been. But that doesn't mean anything. All right? You can make excuses. You can say that. But the fact is that, MSU should not have won that game, no matter what you say. I think Brian Lewerke is great. He's a stud. He should not have won this game. The game came down to the decisions you made earlier in the week. Or not earlier in the week, the past few weeks. Let me explain. So Michigan had some pretty easy games. I think they played a game against Navy, and then they had some easy games where they should be running over a team, especially if you're a ranked team, supposedly coached by one of the best people in the country. They had Purdue, Air Force, and Cincinnati, all not good teams. This means Michigan should have plenty of time to get a quarterback situated, no matter who it is. And then, you have Wilton Speight go down with his injury, and then that made it easiest for you to, that gave you a clear opportunity to start your redshirt quarterback who should be the starter for your team, not Wilton Speight. And don't get me wrong here. I'm a Michigan, or for Michigan, I love Wilton Speight. I thought he was going to be really good. And I was blown away that he wasn't able to get the job done this year. But regardless, you should not be having for your quarterback, you should not be using the senior who's graduating, who's not going to offer you anything. I understand that you think that he gives you the best shot to win right now. I can totally understand that. But honestly, John O'Korn doesn't give you a chance to do that at all, if I'm being honest here. Mostly because, Brandon Peters, he's young. He's going to have the chance to lead your program. He didn't play correct me if I'm wrong. He didn't play a single snap in any of those games when you had John O'Korn. You had the chance to get the young kids some reps, and maybe if he showed any flashes of greatness, he could be leading your program forward. If you matched up Brandon Peters and Brian Lewerke in that game, it would have been a total different outcome. But Jim Harbaugh was being way too arrogant and just refusing to try to do anything different. And Michigan fans believed him wholeheartedly that don't question Jim Harbaugh. He always is making the right decision. But I hate to tell you something. He did not make the right decision on that day. And it cost them big time, and it's going to cost them again. They have not. Think about this. A ranked team, and not just a ranked team, Michigan football, the perennial powerhouse in the Big Ten, the number one, right next to OSU, always battling it out. They haven't steamrolled a single team this year. Sure, they played better second halves against bad teams. But regardless, let's break down your coaching staff. You have $1 million paid offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, quarterback coaches. You have a very, very talented coaching roster that is headlined by Jim freaking Harbaugh, who's coached a Super Bowl game. He's helped Stanford regain, national attention. He's saved the 49ers. He made Colin Kaepernick who he is today. And really, did you guys see the U of M game? Because it was not something I wanted to watch at all. It was embarrassing. They are currently 5-1, 2-1 in conference play. But in that MSU game, you saw the guy who met the Pope, the guy who went to Rome. He's done all these things, and he got outcoached once again by Mark D'Antonio, and it was honestly embarrassing. Mark D'Antonio said, I'm going to run it every play. We are not throwing the ball. Watch what happens. You have to come down, and you have to score against us. And guess what? They couldn't. They kept throwing it, and it was embarrassing to watch because it was putting them at a disadvantage. When Michigan clearly could run at MSU, they wouldn't do it, and that's why all those turnovers were happening. Sure, you can blame that on O'Korn, but a lot of it had to do with the weather. And once again, when you watch O'Korn play, it's not impressive. He should not be in there at all. O'Korn has terrible pocket presence, and it almost looks like he doesn't know when the pressure is coming, and he rolls out at awkward times. Everything he does is just so awkward and unneeded. And honestly, Brandon Peters should be the obvious option going forward. I don't understand what is going through Jim Harbaugh's mind and why he cannot, just make the easy decision and start Brandon Peters, and that's what all Michigan fans should be wanting. But we're going to switch gears a little bit here, and we're not going to bash on, I could rip on Jim Harbaugh all day as one of the most overrated coaches in America, but we got to get to some Lions talk, all right? Detroit Lions. It has been definitely an exciting year. It has been a tough year at the same time. They've had a lot of injuries. They're sitting at 3-3 right now. We have the bye week this week. Hopefully they can get a little healthy. But if you've listened to any of the previous episodes of DST, I put them as a 5-win team, but I said they were better than last year's team. Well, they've been able to flip the script a little bit this year. Their team looks really good at times, except they have just a few injuries that are keeping them back from, sitting at maybe 5-1, 4-2 even. And it's sad to watch sometimes when you know that this team could be better. You're missing Kerry Hyder. You're missing, you were missing Jared Davis for a few games from that cheap hit from Odell Beckham. And then you're missing Taylor Decker, your starting tackle. And it's just a few things out of the scene. Kenny Golladay hasn't been healthy all year. He's been a big, deep threat for the Lions, and he should be moving forward. But it's just hard when not only that, but your coaches aren't helping you. Jim Caldwell, he got a extension for some reason after week 1 of the season for no apparent reason at all, which should have been pushed till the end of the year. But honestly, the coaching has not been good. Jim Bob Cooter does not look good. I don't understand why him and Jim Caldwell are getting any credit for what they're doing, because all they're winning is in spite of how bad their coaching is. And it's been so hard to watch. If you watch the loss of the Saints, the 52-38 loss, it was hard to watch because Chris Spielman, when he was commentating on the game, he called out all the plays the Detroit Lions were going to run, and it was frustrating. Every time Abdullah and Stafford lined up in the pistol, every single time, Spielman said they're running it. Every time. If Chris Spielman can figure out what the offense is going to run, he's not Tony Romo, all right? He's not a quarterback who just came out of the league and can analyze plays like that. If he can call it, defensive coordinators are seeing it a mile away. So every time that they line up in the pistol, they're just going to stack the box. And, well, you can probably figure out why Abdullah isn't having as much success as he probably could, because there's no good plays. Matthew Stafford ranks in the bottom half of the league in pass attempts, or yards per pass attempt. He's become a game manager. Do you want to know why the Lions seem so deadly on a 2-minute drive with 2 minutes left in the game? It's because they open up the playbook. They let Stafford be the gunslinger that he is. As much as I appreciate a game manager, I actually prefer game managers over gunslingers. Gunslingers will win every single time if they're good enough. Matthew Stafford just got signed to a huge deal, most paid in the NFL, and you're telling me that he is going to complete 3-yard passes every single play? That's embarrassing. The Detroit Lions, Jim Caldwell should be fired. Jim Bob Cooter should be reanalyzed to see if Caldwell's the reason that this is happening or not. But regardless, I'm so sick of watching Stafford complete little pocket passes like 5 yards downfield, and then he's getting killed out there, and the coaching staff is still leaving him in. Caldwell is one of the most... He doesn't understand. He costs the Lions games every time when it comes down to coaching in the final minutes or having to make a big decision that can change the outcome of the game. He costs the Lions more than anyone else on this team, I feel, every single season. Whenever they win, it is in spite of Jim Caldwell. And it is so frustrating to watch every time. You know Stafford can do something deep down the field, but no, we're going for a little 5-yard pass. Maybe some Zach Zenner running it up the middle. Just easy to call plays that don't get you anywhere. And then here's the most frustrating part of all of this is the fact that you have just players that aren't performing. And I'm looking right at you, Eric Ebron. Let me tell you something right now. Eric Ebron, we got to have a little chit-chat, my friend, because you are the definition of Michigan football. Overrated. Dude, what do you have? Do you have 2 cinder blocks for hands? Because you can't catch a football. I get the fact that he made, I don't know if you guys saw this, he made excuses for every one of his drop passes 2 weeks ago. And Eric, listen, man, you got to overcome that. You're not the only player in football that has like a hard guy covering you or anything. You literally quoted, I'm going to be one of the best to ever play the game. All right, you said that, and you're telling me you can't overcome some guy covering you pretty decently? No. And then you have wide open passes, Eric, that you literally can't hold on to. And then the backup tight end Fells, who hasn't done anything his entire career in the NFL, he's outperforming you. What do you think of that, Eric? Why don't you take a step back, stop bragging about the Jordan shoes that you have sent to you all the time, stop bragging about UNC, winning something, like in basketball. Why don't you go out and win something, Eric Ebron? Why don't you make a big play? Why don't you run get a 40-yard catch and run into the end zone? Why don't you do anything at all? You already don't follow the rules of being a tight end. You can't block. You can't do any of that. So what? You're more of a receiver, right? Then catch the ball. You literally will have less than 10 yards almost every single week, it feels like. And then you'll tweet something out about how you're going to be on your grind all week. What is your grind, Eric Ebron? Tweeting out a little bit more about how great you are, arguing with people on why you dropped the ball, and then sending photos of you getting some sick Jordan brand shoes. I'm really proud of you, Eric. I really like seeing this out of you. Maybe when we come back and we have to start playing some real teams in the upcoming weeks, i.e. Vikings again, Green Bay, games that matter, maybe you can show up and help this team out a little bit. Maybe you can be the number one draft, or not the number one draft pick, but that first round tight end that you bragged so highly on yourself for being. I would really like to see that from you, Eric. All right. We're going to segue into the Pistons. I don't got a lot to say, but I really want to preview this team because it is actually pretty exciting right now with what we're seeing. So, tonight, it is, it's Friday night. It's 6:30 when I'm recording this. Pistons are getting ready to play the Washington Wizards, who are considered to be one of the top 5 best teams in the East, so it's definitely going to be an interesting matchup. But what have we seen out of that first game from players like Avery Bradley, Andre Drummond, and Reggie Jackson? Well, let me start right now. I'm excited to see what we're going to be getting from Andre this year. I didn't think I would be saying that, but I'm seeing him really step up and man up a little bit. You saw him and Dwight Howard get into that little argument, and Andre was pissed. I like seeing that passion out of him once in a while because a lot of times you don't see the emotion come out of him. And so getting to see that really shows that he is able to do those things and become a leader on the team, and I was really excited to see that. Now, Tobias Harris, he can ball. He'll take care of his part, but one of the most important things on this team, it's going to be the Reggie Jackson-Andre Drummond duo, all right? So Tobias off the bench or starting, however they're going to be making their lineups, he's fine. But pick and roll with Andre Drummond is going to be a beautiful thing. Reggie Jackson seems to be in the best shape of his life. Reggie filled the stat sheet last night, the other night in their debut at Little Caesars Arena. He got some assists. He was scoring, knocked down a three. The pick and roll looked pretty good. Him and Andre Drummond both looked to be in sync. Andre didn't score that many points, but regardless of how many points he scored, he was active, and that's what I'm looking to see. If you can't score, I need you to be active. Avery Bradley, what can I say? Exactly what I thought we were trading for. A stud. That kid went out there and he flat out balled. I think he was 7 for 10 at one point. He made very, very crisp shots. He's one, as we expected, a premier defender in the league. He's definitely something the Pistons have to be excited to have added to their team. It's a very exciting time to be a Pistons fan right now. And with the Gordon Hayward injury, God rest his soul, because that looks like it could have killed him. Not really. Just a little joke there. But for real, he looked to be in a lot of pain against the Cavaliers game. That's rough, but you know what? I think that opens the door for the Pistons to make it all the way up to I don't want to say this, I think they could get the 4 seed. I really think the 4 seed is a capable place for the Pistons to be. And it's going to be a really exciting time to watch this team flourish a little bit. And, Stanley Johnson, he didn't score a basket last night, all right? He played for, 35 minutes, didn't score a basket. I'll let you slide because you made some plays at the end of that game, kid. You had some assists, some really clean rebounds. You had a key offensive rebound at the very end of the game to help seal the deal for the Pistons. That's what we need to see. If you can't score, Stanley, your baskets will come eventually. I need you to be a playmaker. I need you to make the stops when it's needed. I need you to be that on-ball defense. I love seeing that out of you, kid. Keep up the great work. Let's see if these Pistons can take down the Wizards tonight. Move to 2-0 on the season. But, everyone, DST fans, we are wrapping it up for this week. This is going to be the way the format will be set from here on out, is we will be doing crisp, clean, 20 to 35 minutes of podcasts once a week, and I really like what we're going to be doing. For right now, I'm flying solo for the next few weeks. For the foreseeable future, I will be flying solo. Brett is off at Madonna, but I'll be holding down the fort with you guys with the hard-hitting opinions and, my true love for all things DST related. My name has been JT Smellick. The other guy on this show, his name is Brett Hebel. We will catch you guys next time, and go Detroit Sports.